know how you want to proceed, but I would suggest that we just go through it and line for line and see what changes we need to, feel we need to.
I mean, I think we can knock off some of it pretty quick, because, I don't know, I didn't have any notes on the history, the findings. I didn't have any notes till the decision aspect of it. I don't know if anybody else did. We might be able to skip
I have
those
some
first.
typos and stuff. Second page.
I can't do that, so.
Do you have copies of what you're looking at by chance?
Yeah, we do.
Are you-
We're a little bit short only because our admin assistant isn't here. We do have, I mean, I'd have,
It's electronic.
who can make
Can we access that?
If you've got a copy, you could print it. You could
Yeah, I
print
could give you a
copy.
copy,
wanna
Lisa, of
project
what I
it?
have.
Yeah, print a copy.
Oh,
and
we
you
could do
scan
that too.
That might be the easiest
Does
way,
the
right?
copy machine work?
Yeah, or we could project it.
Yeah, I would just as soon give them a copy, you know,
Okay.
but I can't access the copy machine.
You don't think it works?
I don't know if it's on even. It's, you know,
It's probably
Here's
on,
one,
but
try.
you may need a code for it.
right.
No. Apartment code?
Yeah, I have no authentication.
Yeah. Neither do we.
Okay, wait a minute.
Maybe Don has
No, it's
it.
already too high, yeah.
I don't have access, but maybe Frank
This
does.
is your only the only copy you have.
If, I would send you a PDF of it if I had, you know.
Do you have a PDF? I'll pull it up on my phone.
Can you send it to
I
her?
can send it.
Can you, do you, yeah, you have it, you can send it to
Oh,
her.
I don't know if I can do it from my phone.
I don't have it on my
How
phone.
many pages?
7.
7?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not
Just
used.
kind of pictures of it,
No.
worst case.
The last page is really just the appeal process,
Yeah.
so you don't really even need that.
Okay.
Do you wanna project it, or?
If we, in the meantime, yeah, when we're waiting.
Yeah, if you can.
Here comes printer works.
There's nothing I can't send. I mean, this whole email. The rest of it.
I think it's fine, but
Can you just send the,
I can delete the rest of it. I'm not taking that.
Uh-oh.
Can
you have a USB?
Address, Lisa?
No.
Lisa, oh, I said, yeah. At M-T-C.
No, you don't, wow.
Years.
Okay. Well, that's the end of that.
Dot com. Thank you. MTClawyers.com.
can you get into the office upstairs, Don?
Huh?
Can you get into the office upstairs? Because I can probably get a copy off our printer up in the
I
office.
don't have my keys upstairs.
Or we could call, Lisa if she knows the code. I hate to bug her at home, but,
I didn't know where she is, I don't know if she's here.
She's on vacation.
oh,
She's probably up country.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And Frank's not here? He's gone?
We're at the time.
He didn't answer his door.
Oh,
Or maybe he's in the bathroom. There's somebody in the bathroom.
oh.
At least the door's closed.
This won't, in my mind, this won't be the final go-through on the document.
Okay,
The document, I mean, I can appreciate you wanting to
Yeah.
have a copy.
right.
Right.
Our bad that we don't have extra copies.
Yep.
I think our intent tonight is to complete the substantive structure of the document.
Sure.
And then making any edits to the draft that we currently have. And then, if we think that another meeting is necessary, I'm not sure another interim meeting will be necessary, personally. so that at the meeting on the 15th, the final document would be reviewed for minor grammatical
Right.
edits that might be necessary.
And we can see before that, right?
Right.
Okay, that's fine. I don't wanna hold up the meeting.
I don't have that.
Will it be easier if I just take some pictures of it?
No, I got it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They just didn't want me to send the whole thing, so I'm deleting it.
Did you guys see my email?
I did.
Okay, okay. Did you see my email? About
One.
About approaching this? I sent it this afternoon,
When did you send it?
about 3 o'clock today.
This afternoon?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Okay. My suggestion was and is that we just, you know, you or I, you are fine. Page 1, what do you have any comments in? Do you have comment or no comment? And then we move on and stuff.
Right, yeah, that's fine.
And everybody, and I asked everyone to make any notes, so I've made some notes. Some of them are just minor grammatical corrections, some of them are questions of, do we want to leave things the way they're written here or edit them any further? Okay?
Thank you. You're welcome.
Did she get it?
I just want to say to Carla that I think she did an excellent job.
Yes, great.
Thank you.
So, okay, why don't we do that? Any questions on page 1?
I have a kind of a formatting question. Should we have the case number on every page and then a page number on pages?
Yeah, sure, that
So
makes
it's tied
sense.
together?
Yeah,
Lisa normally does that.
Does she? Okay.
She adds the case number.
right.
Just
In the
every
past I
everyone
had.
should be
Yes,
connected, that's
no,
all.
absolutely.
When you write up a decision, you just send it to Lisa and then she formats it, correct? So this is really just a discussion about the substance.
This won't change, in my mind, I don't see the format changing much,
Okay.
other than this kind
Yeah,
of
just the-
addition.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
Just
so that it's,
tied
so it's
case
tied,
number.
tied together.
Right. Right, I marked my pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so.
Yeah, that's fine, however.
Because so anyways, okay, any,
On 1, the only other question I had is whether or not we should identify, is number 3, that's a potential edit, you have it underlined. You have the September 8th as the second potential, that would be edited out.
We'll just take it out
Right,
if we need to.
right.
yeah, take that out, put in September 15th.
Well, that's an assumption right now.
So,
I mean,
We're not gonna meet
I hope
again.
that's where we are.
right,
The only other element is paragraph 5, item 5, next to the last line. We don't refer to Tom Mullen as town council. I think we should refer to him as town council. He's just a legal counsel. And I don't know why, you know, I think it's clearer why the board would consult legal counsel instead of just some counsel.
All right, so how do you want to, you say, so the sentence says, written materials submitted by the public were reviewed by the board and consulting legal counsel, Tom Mullen. I think he's consulting because he's not a town employee.
No, but I think he is on retainer, but to the town.
So you wanted to say
Sure.
I just want to say town council.
town.
Okay,
I just want to identify him more
Town of
clearly.
Rowley Consulting Legal Counsel?
oh, yeah,
or just say town council, that's fine.
Okay.
Because I think that theoretically it could be, well, why did you choose him? Who is he?
Police also counsel for other towns.
right. Delete the word consulting legal and put in,
Town council, comma, and then your name.
right, okay?
Yep.
Anything else?
No, one.
Okay, page 2.
You got anything?
I got a couple minor edits on B.
B,
B,
Yeah.
special permit criteria,
yeah,
number 3.
yeah,
The board has considered all of the above referenced criteria, comma, and,
oh,
add
yeah,
comma, and will impose conditions on the special permit.
Great.
And then it says 5.2, I think it says specific, I'm not sure what it says.
Oh, yeah,
Should say specifically?
yeah, that's probably, right, that's probably
Okay.
a word choice, yeah.
That was it,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think it says specific, I think it's a misspell.
Yeah, the only other
this
one,
isn't reflective of my, actual editing abilities.
Oh, it's always good to have something set of money.
no, that's why we do this story.
Yeah, conditions of special permit related to, I think just take the word out.
Yeah, you could certainly. On
Even
this,
better.
on the,
Nice.
you got anything else? That's it, on,
No, no,
on the
that's
next
okay.
line, specific findings.
Mm-hmm.
Where it says the board could approval, I think it's just approve.
Oh, yeah, you're
Mhm.
done, yeah. Okay.
Okay, page 3.
On number 2, I think the wording, neither the special permit issued, I think you meant to say prior to the 2007 decision.
I'm sorry, can you tell me what line you're on again, Tom?
Number 2, it's the top line.
Prior to commencing,
You have permit issued via 2, and I think you may mean to say permit issued prior to 2007, nor that it.
oh, I'm sorry, the top two.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Via the,
Okay.
Yeah, via the, okay, all right. That makes more sense.
Okay. Decision and condition of
Is
approval.
that what it's supposed to be?
Hmm?
Supposed to be via the? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think that's what you're saying, right? It
yeah,
should
the
be
board
in
finds that neither the special permit issued via the 2007 decision nor the existing non-conforming use of the site have been abandoned.
Right,
That's what I read. All right.
yeah,
I
that's
have,
there.
I have a question on the decision and conditions of approval. Number 1 is the layout, and B, at the end says, so it's a small Roman numeral 4.
Mhm.
Maintenance of all existing landscape along the westerly boundary of the site, including improvement of a 20-foot wide privacy screen. Now, what does improvement mean? What does that
Yep.
encompass? It's pretty,
Mhm, mhm.
that's
That's a
pretty
good
vague.
point. We
What are
might
you
want
talking?
clarification on this, because on the permit plan set, and just my recollection of the site is like, I believe there's an existing 20-foot wide privacy screen there, right?
Right,
So,
but improvement can mean a lot of different things, so.
Privacy screen on the west
So there's no, through the chair,
Yes,
just to clarify for the board, there's no plantings here right now.
Yeah,
We
So-
installed them.
Right, so we'll install those plantings along that area.
Okay, that I was not clear on the
So you
plan,
can say in
so,
accordance with the plan.
So the improvement is to do the plantings.
but to your point
Well-
though, I think we could use some more detail on what will be in that.
So the pin oak trees is not the same thing?
No, that's up in, the-
I don't
that's up
have
in,
any
that's
thing.
up in the front here.
With this all.
That's where they're gonna put it.
Can I look at one?
Yeah, of course.
So this is-
Yeah.
these are the roads.
And so this is the, no,
So the pin oaks are up here,
right, that's
yes,
what you said, yeah.
and these are Norway spruces back here.
Yeah.
It's the same that are in the front, right-hand side of the parking lot. Those are spruces that are planted many years ago, we continue that hedge in the far back. Because those seem to work out very well, they're 20-something feet tall right now, and X number of feet wide.
So rather than saying improvement of a privacy screen, it's an addition of one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let's make a subpart 5. So subpart 4 will say maintenance of all existing landscaping along the western boundary of the site. So whatever's there needs to be maintained. And then we'll have a subpart 5 that says installation of 20-foot wide privacy screen, and this is everything as shown on the plans, but I think what we should say is, which will, I mean, how,
Well, I
Yeah.
think we can just say, it looks to me, if I'm counting, that there are 13 trees on the plan.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That sounds right.
Okay.
Pardon me, may I make a, Mr. Chairman, a point of order? There are abutters and neighbors here. We have no clue what's being discussed here. This is still a public hearing. We have a right to see what's going on here. It's not a hearing between council and Mr. Cole and you folks. We here, we would like to see what's being discussed in public meeting.
At the-
We're sorry that you don't have copies for us, but you don't.
No, I understand what you're saying.
We
but-
have no clue, sir,
but
what's
it-
going on here.
But and we're not, there's no effort here to prevent you from knowing it. But this,
Well, where was
this
our
had,
copy then?
as discussed at the last hearing, this is a case that involves the applicant and this board. And we took all the evidence, we heard all your comments, and we've incorporated all of that information into what this is a draft of.
Well, it would be
And-
nice
and
if
we
the abutters-
appreciate it, but-
I'm sorry,
but-
I want to be respectful. It would be nice if the people here knew what the heck you were talking about, because we don't. We don't know.
follow
We could
We
read
would
one
be all
minute,
around.
like I said.
No, well,
We're
okay.
taxpayers in this
It's gonna
town.
take longer.
You-
The-
you
the
can
only-
make a
the
copy
only
for us
way-
to send something to us or anything. We're just asking for minimal due process, that's all.
Well,
Courtesy.
I understand the desire and the interest in having the courtesy, absolutely, okay? And had we had the information, we would have made it available, okay? We simply are in a bind administratively.
Is it a possibility to put it on the TV?
We tried to do that.
Oh, I gotcha.
We tried, and we don't have access because a code is required of
For
the,
this,
of the
I don't have a USB.
copier.
you don't have what?
I don't have a USB. Do you have one on yours?
So. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to this.
I think that stays on
I
there.
see it. It's, I don't know, this is, you're right, it's not a USB, it's a.
Here, maybe over here.
It's HDMI, yeah,
If it's old enough, you can do it.
okay.
There you go.
There you go.
I have the technology.
Okay.
Apologize, I wasn't paying attention to the technology.
So, yeah, I think we also want to define what we're
So
gonna
is
take
my
in.
comments in the right hand, not anybody else's?
Okay, so scroll up to where we are now.
So, you wanna give them a chance to read the
Well,
beginning?
I think before we start, before we go down this rabbit hole, we should be very clear about what the procedure here is gonna be and what we're gonna take and what we're not.
okay.
I mean, we're happy to have you read along and see the information.
That's always best.
Okay?
That's fine.
You know, I mean, as I mentioned, this is an effort to go through our own draft. It's not like we're gonna sign off on this document tonight.
No, I understand perfectly, but we would like to see what the board is talking about.
Okay, no, understand.
Okay.
So let's wait for Donna to
We-
scroll when you
we-
get
Okay, you
there.
ready?
Yeah,
We,
Go to where we were at?
Yeah,
yeah, so we're at the decision and conditions, and now we're on one, layout, subpart B.
Page 3?
Yeah. There.
So here, we're adding this B,
Right.
order number 5.
I can't see. Yeah, so I think my suggestion is to make that part 5 and say, installation of a 20-foot wide privacy screen. I mean, we already referred to the plan for detail, but,
Up above?
yeah, so, as shown on the permit plan.
We plan on using the plan, whether it be redlined or not, as a exhibit to the, if we're gonna,
Yeah,
okay.
so actually, Don, if you don't mind me asking the applicant, I do, my intention in writing this was that,
Just to be clear, so that one was updated, right? So that was the
Right.
initial proposal, and then we updated it with more details.
this one.
So that's, I would suggest that that's the controlling plan, you don't think so?
my concern is that this, you know, I understand you didn't wanna go back to an engineer to have this done, but, you know, there's no dimensions
Okay,
of the landscaping size, or there's really, it's lacking in
Detail.
detail.
okay. So you can do both, and you can attach them as exhibits to the decision, and we'll just report it all.
That would be the,
right.
yeah.
And we'll just you know, for whatever we're
So that's the
specifying, we'll
correct
reference which,
It's fine.
okay.
Date is June 15th on this? August 17th and June?
Last revised, no, that's not the correct date.
August
I
17th.
have to go back to the
The site plan
application.
says August 17th.
Well, the permit plan, parking median, this one is undated. And then the permit plan, that should be May 15th, May 17th.
This one here, the permit plan is May 17th.
Yeah. Last revised, May 17th.
May 17th, yep.
Yeah. I don't know where I got
Mm.
But it
it.
was submitted on August 17th, is not dated,
April
right?
15th.
Undated.
But
I think it's
that's
dated
really-
April 15th.
But it's revised.
Oh, revised, okay, yep. I think I've never seen this before. Yes, okay.
Excuse me, do you want to take that to make sure you're talking? Can I just take a quick peek at
Sure.
that to make sure you're talking about the
Yeah,
right one?
definitely wanna make sure we have the right document, right?
I
We
know
have
that
this
one.
and then that one for recording.
Is that the April 15th?
Yeah. Sorry.
And then-
I'm sorry.
Then it looks like it was.
They John updated it.
Yep, okay, cool.
That's
Yep,
it?
That's it, we're
Okay.
good, we're good.
Excuse me,
So
question.
May 15, 2021.
Why are we only focusing on a perimeter boundary in that small area? Why not across the back of the property line as well?
you haven't got there
Why
yet.
isn't just that behind the store, there's a small 20-foot boundary in that small area? Why wouldn't we go right across the back of the property?
I'm happy to answer your question. We're not done. There's 20
Okay.
items here,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
And part of the reason we wanted to do the process we're trying to do is
I just wanted to make
get
sure
through
that
this,
I
otherwise
didn't misread it.
we'll all be here until much later than we want to be.
Thank you very
We
much.
can do it again, but we don't want to have to do it again.
I'm with you.
Number one. Number two, my recollection, I don't have the tape and we don't have the minutes from the prior meeting, was that we decided to close the hearing to further evidence, which means that a valid question about, well, what are you saying? Why are you doing that? We're past that point. Right now, we're deliberating, and you can see what we're deliberating and thinking about and evaluating. But in an effort to allow the board itself to figure out what we're doing here, you're gonna have to watch, you know.
No, I totally understand, I just don't understand why we're working off the plan that he submitted, and that's what we're going off of, like,
Well, in any application environment,
Right.
an applicant submits a site plan for us to review.
Yep.
And that has changed, as you saw a couple of times here, since this began, since the original application. And we just wanna make sure, because we always cite when the final permit is recorded, a copy of the plan that we refer to, so that if anybody says, well, what plan are you actually talking about? There it is with the recorded documents. So we know about it and you know about it too. And it's all public, it'll be all public document. Okay.
Okay. We through with section B?
I'm sorry, I'm still, we still need to decide how we want to describe the screen that will be there. So all I have is installation of a 20-foot wide privacy screen, and that is, on the southwestern portion.
In the past, we've referred to these kinds of conditions specifically by saying, you know, they have 13 trees here, you know, to include at least 13 trees, you know, of at least 10 feet at, you know, installed height.
Right, so we should,
So that way you folks know, if they put, you know, 10 conifers that are 3 feet tall, they don't get away with saying, so, well, we put the trees in there. No, that's not what we agreed to. Because item 3 is very clear in that regard.
5, 15 to 20 foot tall.
At time of installation.
So what do we wanna have for these other 13?
Well, I think 15 to 20 feet tall at time of installation is similarly appropriate. Would those trees be that large?
That's pretty
Yeah,
tall.
I mean, 2.5, 3-inch calipers,
Okay.
easily.
What kind of girth does a tree like that?
Well, pin oak's more narrow,
Yeah,
so we don't want it to get too big to overtake the parking lot or overtake.
yeah, no, those are up front,
He's
right?
talking about the Norway.
Norway spruce, oh, they're gonna get 40 feet, 20 feet on the base. The ones that are there right now are probably 25, 30 feet high.
Yeah,
They were planted, you must have planted them.
yeah.
yeah.
Norway spruce? Is that what we're doing? They're called out?
Yeah,
what was the number we were doing it?
13.
there are at least 13. I mean, you can put 30 if you want, but at least 13.
13 Norway spruce trees at 2-inch,
No,
yeah,
10 foot.
10 foot.
What was it, 10 foot?
The starting height,
Planted height.
planted height.
Now, I've got one comment about, Carla, how you talked about this, which I think is good. In the verbiage you use, it says, the site will be arranged and operated in conformance with and as shown on the plans, and prior to receipt of a certificate of occupancy for operations at the site, shall. Okay, I think that's an important definition we want here, because I'm very concerned that this gets done and gets done in an expeditious manner. I almost am more concerned that this gets done than anything else you're doing, because this will dramatically improve the appearance of the site and dramatically impact the way I think people feel about the site. So that's a contingency. What is not a contingency, for instance, is C, which is keep all landscape areas in good repair throughout the year. That's a statement which doesn't make sense with it being done prior to occupancy. That's an ongoing kind of thing.
That's a good point.
So I would either put C, I would either And I think keeping the note regarding ongoing maintenance, like above, construct, install, and maintain landscape areas. Okay, well, they can technically meet that in B simply by doing it, you know, prior to Ken issuing a certificate of occupancy. Either we should set C as a separate line item outside of the parameters of 1A and B, you know, and then simply say, you're gonna have to, you know, keep all the landscape area good repair. And that has nothing to do with getting his certificate of occupancy.
Right.
Okay.
Can I make just a formal point?
Yeah.
There won't be a certificate of occupancy issued for the site, because we're not, there, you could say for the building, maybe for the, salt shed, but, technically there won't be a certificate of occupancy, right? Because nothing's being built except for the salt shed. So you could say within 90 days of the expiration of the appeal period or final decision.
And I feel I can make that happen.
Because otherwise, there's really no certificate of
Oh,
occupancy.
that's good. I made the assumption that you were doing an interior remodel that would be
But even with
requiring
that, they don't issue a certificate of occupancy on a constructed building. You're not required to get one.
Okay.
So if you said within 90 days of a final decision, which means any appeal and then whatever. So you could, that way you have a time period.
Yeah, 90 days is basically October through December. Can you still do plantings then?
Yes.
Well, I don't know, what do you feel about 90 days?
Okay, all right.
I don't know what you're gonna put here.
Your trigger's not gonna work, that's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
that's a good point, thank you.
No, that's
Yeah.
a valid point.
Yeah.
She's doing the editing, I'm just kinda doing it for everybody to see it.
Okay, now
90 days.
I'm gonna bounce back here a little bit. We've got landscaping in the front, we've got landscaping on the east side and west side. And as this gentleman spoke out, we don't have any landscaping on the back. And is there any reason why you haven't provided any?
So on the back, there's a 15, 18-foot berm that has vegetation on it that's 10 feet high right now or greater.
Thought it was
It's
8
already
feet.
there. It's already there.
The rear berm, I physically walked it. It's every bit of 10 to 12 feet.
Yeah, so.
Every
it's already-
bit
it's
of it.
already- it's
It
already
was,
there.
it may have started when we did it in '07 at even 6 feet. But, you know, it's multiple vehicles high now. The dilemma with runoff is because it was intentionally created like this.
Right.
So that the water that in the natural topography of that piece of land drops down. It would require a substantial amount of grading, which is not the applicant's responsibility because it's a pre-existing condition. He has expressed a willingness to explore ways to mitigate some of that runoff. Either by putting stone there, maybe putting a dry well in there, that's a subject for discussion. But the berm back there, I can't conceive of doing anything else to it. I mean, even if you put, you know, a new vegetation on the top of it, I'm not sure, you guys all live there, we all live next to loud noises.
Right.
You know, sound passes through. I mean, only these concrete barriers that the state puts up on the 95 are really close to sound deadening. And, you know, I live 1.5 miles away from 95 and I hear it all year round. And so only so much of that can be done. That berm is pretty substantial, you know. I don't know what else can really be done, because behind it is then a
Right.
runoff to the back of your properties, which are in the back there. The water mitigation is about the best I think we can expect to accomplish there. I really, I don't know what else we could do. If it was a low point, it's,
Our houses are 4 feet higher than his land, so deduct 4 feet off that, I could see clear into the back. If he when his trucks were parked over there and he was whatever, you know, he was clearing dirt with or, processing soil with, you could see it clear as day from my property at least. So I talked to Mr. Cole early on, and he said he wasn't scared to plant a bunch of trees, and it would be a great way to get rid of some of the noise. I'd be surprised at what that would do for noise, so a 25-foot trees across the back, I think would be, why do it just on the west side?
I think we're prepared to consider addressing noise mitigation as much as possible. I will say that we have had other applications on sites in town where abutters and applicants came to an agreement among themselves, and it was not part of our agreement about that kind of thing. That's up to Mr. Cole and discussion with you and anybody else who would want to discuss it. I mean, it's not an obligation of the permit, but it helps address things that might be specific to your lot and not to anybody else on Gerzac, and maybe that's an element of something that you and he could come to an agreement on, you know, I
Fair enough,
thought.
thank you.
And on the record, I have expressed that I would work with them down the lines,
He did,
Okay.
so.
100%.
Okay, good, okay,
Understood.
Good.
okay.
Alright, so let's go back to this timing of the trigger.
Okay.
So, you know, even if this is recorded next week, yeah, 90 days,
Well,
and then you want 90 days, so it would be a spring planting. I mean, when are you proposing to do the
So
planting?
we'll, is that, can I speak?
yeah, sure. Yeah.
We'll go full force right away to mitigate the impact on the neighborhood. And we've already sourced 2 different contractors, both of them with the capabilities of taking care of it fast. So I imagine within 2 weeks, we'll have everything wiped on the back, built out how we needed it. And then just really, it's the front, my landscape crews getting the trees in, getting the block walls in, and getting the grass in at that point.
You're gonna do that even if there's an appeal?
Yes. I'm moving forward with the back.
Alright, well then, you know what, I think we can't make him do anything before the decision is final, so if Mr. Cole is willing to do something sooner, that's great. So the condition will say, shown within, how about we just say 60 days of the final decision?
61.
Just from my day-to-day experience with
Yeah.
contractors, right now,
Yeah,
I'm almost willing to extend it a little bit just to make sure that you
You
can
should
get
90.
somebody in there.
Yeah, he needs
Because
90
I
days.
mean,
90.
it's been a real hard time to get anybody to do anything right now. And I'm not trying to delay it, I'm not trying to, I just wanna be realistic, and it's,
He
well,
needs
it's 90 days plus,
20.
plus,
Plus
okay.
whatever it is.
you know, so it's already the appeal period and then
Okay, yep.
90, so that's.
Oh, I thought you
that's-
said 60, I'm sorry.
So
So
Well, I
90.
said 60 after the 90.
Oh, I get it.
So to play it safe, could you say something like all hardscape and site work to be completed within 90 days? If the planting falls within the winter, it just gets pulled on the spring. All of the back planting's done this year, but we have to construct a wall in the front and just to plant that top wall, so maybe just the front plantings could be a spring 2022, but everything in the back is completed within 90 days.
And that is less impact, right? I mean,
Correct.
Right, you can tie the planting season, is that what they're doing?
Because I can put the spruces in next week, that's not really a big deal hypothetically, right?
Right.
It's a crew a day,
Right.
so I'm not worried about that, we've got a
Right.
great source, I can grab them. Just the front, I gotta build out the walls and I gotta do some paving out front. So as long as I have the leeway to do my planting in the spring in the front, which isn't it's minimum amount of plants,
Yes.
I'll be fine with that.
Yeah,
The board is
I mean,
fine with that.
I think if you do the structural work in the front,
Yep,
you know, I mean,
yep,
that's most of the battle.
Yep.
What specific plans you put there, subject to, you know, your plan is submitted, it could change between now and the spring. I mean, who knows what things are going on.
yep.
Well, what we've written here is, keep all landscape areas in good repair throughout the year. The landscaping facing Haverhill Street shall be planted with seasonably appropriate vegetation and include at least one row of evergreen plantings to maintain buffering throughout the winter months. If you get the structure done and plant in the spring, that would be fine.
My wife's all aboard, she's putting hay bales and pumpkins out there, I think, not next week, the next week after, so she's already did the design for it, so seasonality's going up.
Right.
So Carl, you put something on, under number one, right, within the 90 days of decision, hardscape within 90 days, and then, I don't know how you put it.
And the rear plantings within 90 days.
As proposed, the only rear plantings are those spruces, correct?
Right.
Well, back to the original point though, I think we should do 90 days from the final decision, including the running of all appeal periods for everything, because even though he wants to do hardscaping right away, I don't think, you know, I don't wanna condition anything earlier than the appeal period running,
Right.
or the 90 days after.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine just to leave it
Yeah.
Okay.
as that, right?
Mhm.
And does that make sense, within 90 days of the final decision, including the running of, I wanted to find final decision, so
Right.
we know what that is,
Right,
Expiration of all appeal periods.
yeah,
right.
final decision and
Right,
expiration.
I know I don't have it right, so. It'll be correct on the, when it gets passed out to everybody.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, we done with number one?
So as Tom was saying, I was,
If you put C, you know, not as a line item associated with,
That makes sense.
I was
So-
recommending it be number
Okay.
2 and call it maintenance,
Yep,
that's
I
fine.
think that's great.
because it's really
Yeah.
about, prevent, future
I just said on.
upkeep of
maintenance.
the landscaping, right?
Okay. Section 3, material storage. Prior to commencing outdoor material storage at the site, Cole shall organize and construct bin areas near the eastern property boundary shown as storage bins on the plans for storage of permitted materials. For the purpose hereof, permitted materials may include patio-based material, sand, loam, mulch, and similar materials. The permitted materials stored on site shall not include gravel. All salt storage must be limited to the designated salt storage area. The applicant shall limit the amount of permitted materials stored in the aforementioned storage bins to 75 cubic yards per storage bin.
So I thought that we had gone through this and that all of the salt was going out of the old site.
It is,
Did
the
I-
intent is to have the salt here.
Okay,
There's still
I must have
some-
misunderstood that.
Yeah, the intent,
Okay.
both facilities are running, but during the daytime I can pull up at this location, at nighttime I pull up the other location.
Yeah, I think, I think the whole subject of the salt storage is, this is not implicitly acknowledging that he can put salt there. We're not gonna do that, okay? We're not in a position to make that judgment call. We're gonna ask you to go to the Conservation Commission. We have a email that,
It is our jurisdiction for the salt storage.
I don't wanna make the call on the salt. we have an email from Brent in Concom who says there's all kinds of issues that are associated with the application right now, and I'd rather have us say the applicant is welcome to store salt at the site under conditions subject to approval of the Conservation Commission.
If applicable.
Yes, if applicable. I mean,
Right.
if it's determined that that those regulations apply because of the watershed overlay district, and it has to be done, Adam indicated you've agreed to do that. And that's fine. Only under those conditions would salt be allowed to put here. It won't be just, sure, go ahead, build a construction shed. It's noted here for conversation purposes, but it's still gonna be subject to review beyond because I don't know the rules and regs of what that building should be, what it should look like, what the size and thickness of the base should be. They are allowed in various places. If it applies under these conditions, they'll have to conform to it. If they conform to it, then we can't stop them from doing it. They conform to it. That's the state law, not my law. It's not Rowley's town law, it's the state law. And if he complies,
And we comply in Ipswich.
okay, so
Yeah,
they
so we
comply in
already know
Ipswich,
what it
if
is.
it's the same law.
And also, Tom, just so you know, if it makes you feel better, the next condition is taken right from the bylaw.
Yes, I know.
That's exactly what the bylaw.
Right.
It's in the next paragraph.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But
Alright, so my only other note on what is now number 3 is and similar materials and whether we want to define that.
I agree. I had the same note.
Right,
And
right.
I'm not really sure how to do that, but I think, you know, it's a
Well,
little
he's
open-ended.
got on his plans here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bins. All right? He's got them labeled. Stone pack, 3/8 chip, sand, loam, miscellaneous, organic, brush, compost. Why can't we just put those things right in there?
you know, this is my opinion, and you guys obviously can overrule me, but to a certain extent, we don't wanna micromanage his business, you know? So we need to be able to make some sort of line that's rational. I mean, I was thinking of, okay, when is stone become gravel, you know, like what's the size, do we wanna put that in? I mean, we wanna be specific, but also we can't control and micromanage, you know, if he has brush in one bin or compost in another. I think that's just unreasonable.
I think that's fair. You know, I think, no, I think that's fair.
I mean, the limitation on gravel is noise, right? Because gravel is loud when it pings into the back of trucks. See, what other material are we thinking of?
That's what I'm trying to think of, and I don't really have
Make
one.
sure it's landscaping material is all, and
Right.
similar, I think, covers that. If you're talking
If
about
I may
mulch.
suggest, how about the boulders that are presently being stored in the Ipswich property?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
There are presently boulders that are presently,
Boulders, those aren't similar to mulch, to me. Let's see.
There's a lot of them.
people use them for decorations on their lawn or for fill or whatever. But they are being, the pictures that we submitted a long time ago show boulders at present on Mitchell Road.
I guess I was looking at this as patio-based material, it's just smaller. Sand, more and mulch, it's pretty fine.
Well, the question is similar materials, and is that similar or non-similar?
Very vague. And miscellaneous, give me a break.
It's more specific.
I mean, the only thing that really came to mind to me is like a weed killer or something, where it's like a,
Yeah.
But that doesn't make any sense, 'cause it wouldn't go there.
Stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Print again.
Oh, I'm-
Materials, he was just reading out. It was on the
So-
drawing,
Oh, here.
he was just reading.
Okay.
I won't be able to see
Yeah, I can't read it either.
Sand, lawn,
What is the intent of the miscellaneous?
a fire.
And-
My business changes constantly and materials change constantly, so, I mean, I kind of, you know, I do agree with Carla because, you know, we could be using one product one day, another product another day for efficiencies, but no gravel. And that's, I specified that pretty clearly, well, we specified that pretty clearly in our proposal, right? And that's
Okay.
always been the thing, so no gravel.
So you give me like a couple examples, just so I can kind of get an
What if you had
idea.
a pallet of like, what if you had a pallet of bricks one day?
Okay.
Or a pallet of bluestone another day?
Okay,
or-
I got you.
right?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
Or like overflow of one of the other ones, you just
Right.
have extra.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I got you. Just trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, yeah. So we,
I mean, I think that the problem that I was identified, noise associated with gravel. You know, there's a reasonableness standard that we need to stick to.
Well, you know, I do agree with the need to allow for varying conditions, having varying materials.
And think about the other limitations on hours of operations, loading up, you know, loading times, those are
Right.
all limiting the
Right.
noise and the, you know, and it's not like anything is gonna be, that's illegal will be stored there, you
Right.
know, that has.
Yeah, no,
I'm
the
there.
only other thing you
No,
can do
I-
is,
You know,
the only other thing you can do is size limitation,
which I think we have because it's constrained to this many, oh, did you mean like the size of the material? Yeah.
Yeah, well, 75 cubic yards is not a lot of volume, you know, I mean, particularly in
They're
a,
talking about boulders.
in a commercial environment. No, I'm talking about, yeah, but I'm saying this 75 cubic yard limitation is, you know, it's almost, you know, 2 or 3 dump trucks, 8-wheel dump truck loads of stuff, it's not a lot of stuff. So, you know, if he's doing any business at all, you know, he's sucking through all this stuff pretty quickly. Comment?
90% of my material is direct shipped.
Direct ship to site.
Direct shipped, yeah. So this is
So
like
you never
yard
see
here,
it?
yard there, yeah. Most of my material didn't even see the shop.
Yeah. Well, I initially had the same reaction, and there's another place where we run into, you know, a word which is vague by its nature. I mean, similar, like, these kinds of terms are normative terms that are like, I don't know what that means.
But I think to Carlos' points, I mean, I don't think we can require him to define every single,
Right,
you know.
everything he's got everywhere.
Right, yeah, I mean, it just gets to a point where we gotta, you know, he's gotta be able to run his business.
I would like to see, this, permitted material stored on site shall not include gravel. Part of that should be underlined, so that somebody doesn't misread this.
Sure.
I thought she made that statement somewhere.
It's there, but it's not underlined. It's the next sentence.
Okay, that page?
Yeah, I was just trying to find a way around similar, the only thing I can think of is if you quantify, you know, the size or.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shall not include gravel. Yeah. I thought we had it.
And I guess, and I'm asking the board, what's the problem with boulders?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is the noise, right? And I
Right.
think we're taking care of that as far as time-wise, and to your point, I think, yeah.
I think there's currently some large
Yeah.
rock that we would probably all define as boulders
Right.
out by the back shed now, in that
Yeah.
vicinity.
We're not breaking them up like
Yeah, there's no rock crushing going
Rock
on.
crushing.
No,
That's
no,
not
no,
something
they're,
that's
they're
allowed.
used architecturally to, you know,
Landscape,
landscape
bodies,
stuff,
heated
yeah.
walls.
Loading them on and off the trucks makes a ridiculous
Right,
amount of noise.
right,
That's what we're
Ridiculous
trying
amount
to,
of noise.
Exactly,
we're trying to.
that's the noise
That's what we're
factor.
trying to capture. Noise. Okay,
Okay, I'm good there.
And if we're moving on to salt storage, just one thing I didn't put in the decision, cause I don't think it's good form to do so, is to say like applicant must apply to, you know, Conservation Commission must apply to any other, because, you know, we're an independent board, we don't tell other boards and other town agencies, you know, what to do. So if Brent wants us, you know, wants them to apply to Conservation Commission, you know,
we need to.
then they need to, it's not for us to tell him.
It's not for us to tell him what to do with an application that they might get, but we have frequently,
I know,
we have
tell them that
frequently
they can comply with
conditioned,
it.
you know, our approval on, review by the health department, the fire department, et cetera, so that if any of them, you know, find a condition which he can't meet, then, you know, our permit gets withdrawn fundamentally, they don't get to work on it. So it's not been, you have to do this, is you should consult with the Concom, because Concom, you know, gave us, I mean, I'll read it if you want me to go over it, but he's.
no, I read
saw
it, and, I mean, he should know his own stormwater bylaw, and
I mean, he says this, and it may not apply.
Right, so if
I don't think you
So,
saw this.
No, I haven't seen that. So
Right.
you know, if the board feels comfortable, as you know, you can't condition your decision on somebody else's approval, that's
Right.
illegal.
Right.
But you can say the applicant must comply with all applicable local rules and
Right.
regulations and state statutory requirements.
Right,
Then you're covered,
Right.
right? So you can say it, because you wanna say it, you don't have to say it, because he has to do that anyway, but if you wanna say it, say it.
yeah, we normally
Right,
say it as a
right.
blind item, as a, you know.
Okay.
And the only other note I had on that section is it did look like his proposal was 800 square feet, not the 1,200 that we put in
What is it?
from this last memo for the,
oh, actually, I wanted to bring that up,
okay.
because it said the salt storage would be limited to 800 instead of, or sorry, 8,000 instead of 12,000 square feet, but the size of the building is still the same.
Okay,
So
is
how-
that what that meant? I might have misread that.
Well,
Plan shall be reduced in overall size from 1,200 square
I
feet to no
think
more
that
than
was-
800.
that was the size of the building's not changing, right?
So,
The size of the salt shed was not gonna change from the original proposal, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I think that's all we can regulate.
Okay, yep,
I don't think we can regulate anything else.
okay.
What have you got up there?
I have, on number 6, can you jump to 6? I noticed this when we were here last time, from 2007, it said,
Sorry, Donna, new 6 or old 6?
the old 6, I didn't change,
Okay.
it did not have to change.
Vehicle parking and location?
Vehicle parking and location, so it talked about the 53 motorized vehicles. 2007 said 33 motorized and 20 non-motorized, so there's your 53. Plus 20 additional. We have 25, is that the expansion for their non-conforming?
so motorized in total was 53 on the 2007.
Right.
33 motorized, 20 non-motorized, plus an additional 20.
Right, so that's 53.
Right.
Motorized.
Motorized, correct.
Right, so there was no increase in that.
No, just in the 25
Correct.
non-motorized.
Right.
And that's what I'm asking, that's the increase.
Does that include bobcats and every like piece of motorized equipment or just vehicles?
It generally refers, motorized includes vehicles with motors, it doesn't include a Bobcat per se. Non-motorized are trailers,
No,
anything.
but Bobcat has a.
Bobcat is a-
Bobcat's
has-
Bobcat is
motorized,
Yeah,
yes.
Bobcat's motorized.
So
But you would
anything-
generally have to move a Bobcat on a trailer. Are they stored on trailers?
What, excuse me?
A Bobcat?
What,
How do you store and how do you move them
So
around?
we have winter leases,
Yeah.
so we only use them in the winter, so I get about a dozen Bobcats that just stored from April through November, they don't even move.
Yeah, so, and they sit,
They sit dormant, and then we put them on a trailer and move them out,
oh,
that's all. Especially the towing company moving them.
So how are you counting those?
They're
Are you
just staying-
counting them
They're
as-
staying in Ipswich right now,
They're not
Okay.
gonna be in Raleigh.
they're not gonna be around there.
Okay, so, but non-motorized vehicles, I don't know if we need to design it more, but that's like plows that you attach to a
Right,
truck.
trailers.
trailers are space.
So just another, so if he has, are we counting the Bobcats and excavators and all that stuff that have motors that you can drive?
If the Bobcats were on
Those are
site, they would
cut.
be motorized.
Right, alright, so that's
Yeah.
considered a motorized vehicle,
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yep. Alright, whenever you guys are ready, I'd like to talk about hours. Go?
Go.
Okay, alright, so, I mean, right from the first, old number 7B, normal business hours, we say 6:30 AM to 6 PM, Monday through Saturday.
That should be Monday through Friday, and Saturday from 6:30 to 2.
Well, just a point on that, guys, I think the limitation is not operation, but no loading after 2, right? So, it's still normal business hours, Monday through Saturday, but Saturday has a specific limitation on loading of material or equipment no loading of material, of any material or equipment shall occupy the property after 2 p.m. Shall occur on the property, sorry, I can't talk today, after 2 p.m. on Saturday.
But they can start loading at 6:30, the next paragraph talks about they can come in at 6:30, but they have to leave right away. Loading isn't that quick, I don't believe.
Yeah, that's something that,
So are they able
I
to load
was,
at 6:30 in the morning?
Yes, that's how it is now, that's how it was in the other permit.
Right.
right,
So on the C, it says office staff, I think they should say with the exception of office staff and on-site mechanic, just get done with it. No earlier than 6:30 and expected to leave shortly thereafter for the work site. Shortly thereafter is the time to load or whatever they need to do. Right?
So no one thinks that it's crazy that on Saturdays, we should be
6:30
expected to
early.
listen to this at 6:30 in the morning? One day, we're asking for, one day, 6:30 Saturday night, which means all 35 vehicles can come in with their beepers and all that. There's no conceding to nothing, we're just gonna, whatever he put down on that paperwork and whatever the old permit says, is what we have to deal with. Give us
The whole
something.
permit's already set,
That's
it's
what I
already
brought it up
permitted to do
because
it.
it's pretty early in the
It's
morning.
not
6:30
something
in
new,
the
he's already
morning on
permitted to do it.
Saturday? Come on. Give us something. We could live with it during the week. It's Saturday.
On Saturdays, we brought it down to 2 PM, no loading after.
Talking about the morning,
So
6:30 in the
the
morning.
reason I brought it up is in the 2007, it says 8 AM to 1 PM on Saturday.
Well, only, no, you
That's the
have,
retail.
That's the retail.
side.
you have to go back,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
edition 1 under that
Yeah,
section.
that was retail.
The hours of operation, the construction component of the business shall be from 6:30 AM to 6:30 PM, Monday through Saturday.
Right.
So we backed off till 2 PM.
I'm confused about the loading time. I distinctly remember Mr. Cole discussing a loading process that happens in the evening after 6:30 at night, every night.
That
Not
was-
loading in
that's
the
all I-
morning, but at night, and I'm concerned about how long that takes.
I think we
So
had
we-
it told us that.
Alright, so.
Mr. Cole,
Excuse me.
if a fella comes in to work on 6:30 in the morning,
One more time, sir?
If somebody comes into work at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
comes into work 6:30 in the morning, he parks his car in the front.
Yes,
He walks in through the building
it was in the office,
into the office and checks in,
correct.
right? Then he goes out and gets into his truck,
Starts it,
and what does he do?
starts it and leaves.
It was loaded the night before, the day
Loaded the night
before.
It was loaded the night before,
There's nothing.
Before 6:30,
okay, before 6:30.
right.
So, at the end of the day, if he comes back at, say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and loads his truck up for
The next day,
the next day,
yeah,
what does he do?
he parks it and leaves,
And he leaves.
correct.
So,
And then we made accommodations that if he comes back after 6:30, he just parks it out front, locks it, and that's it. So he's not even allowed in the back, so we made accommodations to say, this is a load zone from 6:30 to 6:30, Monday to Friday, 6:30 to 2 on Saturday. Anything outside those parameters are not allowed. Nobody's allowed to access the back of the property after 6:30, they have to leave everything in the front.
okay,
So the only operations that would be going on, say in the winter time for snow operations, would be dispatch inside the office.
The loading doesn't only happen in the afternoon. If he comes back late, he's gotta load the next morning.
He's gonna load next because he's not allowed to load, so we set all those parameters
Right.
pretty black and white, I feel.
There's also noise associated with the trucks parking and the trailers rattling when they come in. It's not just the pulling out, they're not driving Priuses out of it. These trucks, by design, allow just pulling out of there. You know what I mean? Like, we could live, it's Saturday. You wanna have a barbecue on a Saturday afternoon and listening to 30 trucks and whatever else is coming in there at 6:30 on a Saturday night? It's unreasonable.
It's not out there at 6:30.
It's
It's
Saturday night.
unreasonable.
It's 2 o'clock Saturday
Two
afternoon.
Just
on
loading.
Saturday.
That's for loading.
Yeah.
All the trucks have to come in and park.
I mean, we're not taking additional evidence.
am I correct to say that at 2 o'clock you shut down on Saturday?
No,
Because
that's
it
not
stops
correct.
loading.
Stops loading.
Stops
Stops
loading,
loading.
okay.
You know, honestly, can I just say one thing? You know, I feel like I say this as nicely as possible, I feel like I'm being judged when people don't even know me. And I've been in business 30 years, and I've said this to you all before, that you don't go 30 years in business with burning bridges. So, you know, the neighbors are judging me on past performance, and it's like I'm on trial, and I'm being hung
Well,
without
I
even
correct
being
that and say
there.
the neighbors are complaining about
So-
what happened, not to you,
Yeah.
sir, but the
So-
property next
That's
door,
nothing to do with
as you
All
see
right,
to your right.
Don,
Yeah.
Don, that's
Okay.
enough, please.
We're
Uh,
only here, so we don't get.
Close the
burned.
hearing.
We're only here
No,
so
we're
we
just
can
trying to
have
stop.
So we
some
close
peace.
the hearing.
And we don't want them to listen to
No,
long
we're not done.
lines,
We
it's
need
30
to
in the
just-
morning.
Just not
Stop.
testing anymore.
Okay. Okay, let's continue on.
All right, back to arrival and departure. So my first suggestion is to just combine the office staff and site mechanic to, just to consolidate the wording,
Yep,
okay? It says barring unanticipated circumstances. What's unanticipated? Because I could be managing a project, I have a schedule and, you know, my schedule is way off, took me way longer, that's unanticipated from my point of view,
Right.
but is that what
Well-
you're talking about, or are you talking about like an emergency vehicle?
no,
Breakdown.
this is
Breakdowns.
what we were just
Exactly.
talking about. They're gonna be parking in the front if they have to come back after 6:30.
Right, so the contingency is that if there is something unforeseen, they can't go in the back, they still cannot go in the back if they get back late, they have to park up front. So
But it
if,
says
if some,
barring unforeseen or unanticipated,
Right, so-
it should say emergency.
but if there is an emergency situation, it's just saying that they have to park up front and they can't go, even if there's an emergency, it's basically saying, even if there's an emergency, they can't go in the back, they still have to park up front. But the expectation is that the normal course of business is that nobody's gonna come back after 6:30, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Barring unanticipated circumstances, they're gonna park, they're gonna return no later than 6:30,
Mhm.
unless there's return of vehicles for emergency repairs within the garage. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you're making a good point with the, other than the return of vehicles for emergency repairs within the garage. I mean, you're not doing repairs in the garage after 6:30.
Right.
So it,
It's just, to me, it's just to be an emergency.
I would end the sentence after Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
there something we're missing in the intent?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So it's out of the question to ask for 2 o'clock on Saturday to call it a wrap.
You mean to close the business?
That's it, close it on Saturday at 2. I don't know anyone that works till 6:30 on Saturday night. I mean.
Well, we all go out Saturday night and everybody's, there's a lot of places we go.
That's what I'm saying.
Lots of people work Saturday and Sunday.
There's a lot of stuff, he has a big business and that's great, there's a lot of stuff going on over there other than loading till 6:30 at night. Not even saying Monday through Friday, we'll deal with it, it's Saturday. Saturday, I don't feel like we're being that unreasonable.
No.
It's,
No, I don't, you know, it's probably,
I understand what the permit says, if you brought 50 people in here, they would all say, wow, that's crazy, except for the person trying to get it. 6:30 on Saturday night.
I don't know, he's closed on Sunday. I don't see how we can be in any position, frankly, to restrict a company's operating status by, 15%
On a Saturday?
on any day. I mean, it's, it's,
Excuse me?
It's landscaping, I mean, that work is done when the good weather and.
believe me, I hear everything the abutters have said all along, but, it's, personally, in my experience, it's uncommon for any board, for health departments, for building inspectors to make the restrictions on hours on a particular company's operation. About the only kind of circumstances where I can think of where that tends to happen is with licensing of liquor licenses, where they specifically state you can sell X from here to there. We all go in the convenience stores and we see, beer there, and they say, I'm sorry, you can't buy it till 1 o'clock. State
Someone
reg-
said the
state
hours
law.
originally though.
It's not because the town does that kind of thing, it's because of state law.
Someone
think
said
we're
those
ready
hours
to-
originally.
To move
Yeah, I'm
on,
ready to
we're
move
ready
on.
to move on to deliveries of permitted material as defined above shall only occur Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. I think that's a pretty clear limitation. Loading restrictions, no loading of permitted material or equipment outside of normal business hours Monday through Friday or after 2 o'clock on Saturday. Alright, any further comments on the subparts here? Construction activity, vehicle location.
Only under snow removal, how many vehicles do you normally operate? In your snow removal operation, is it 5, is it 10, is it 20?
It varies. I mean, normally, almost every single piece of equipment we have has a plow on it.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I know.
What's the question?
I was curious how many snow vehicles, related, because I assume every vehicle that you have use of during the year for landscaping, you put a plow on during the winter, because there's no
So that would be-
landscaping.
So how many vehicles like the front, right, so how many
We're
vehicles?
still gonna
trucks?
fall within the envelope, because
Right.
I have 14 management that take vehicles home.
Yeah,
They're not even on site, so they take them home.
yeah,
They all have plows on them, and then what happens if we get snow tonight, all my trucks were picked up by lunchtime today, if not first thing in the morning, they go home with the guys, so they report directly to the site. Then all my snow machines are on sites already, they're stored for there for the whole winter, so they just direct report. I think that's the point that a lot of people are missing, is that, you know, after 7:30 in the morning, my facility's vacant.
Yeah.
Nobody's there, it's like pin drops, and they come back at the end of the day, they're done. Snow ops, some trucks don't even see it for 2 days, because they're out snowing snow ops.
Mhm.
Okay,
All right,
continue, go ahead.
the next one I have a comment under is to consider restriction on idling.
I think that came up, I don't think we had,
I don't
I
think,
mean, there's an idling law, I mean, is there anything we can really say around it?
okay,
When you have a load of stuff come in, it's generally in a diesel truck. Am I correct?
Deliveries,
Okay,
correct.
how long are they normally there?
Minute and a half, 2 minutes, as far as they can back in and dump and get out of there.
yeah,
Okay.
And I've already
That's
talked
fine.
to a bunch of our distributors, and we talked about no backup beepers, and they have automatic tailgates, where they don't crash the tailgates, they lift up the tailgate. So, I've already talked to them about that,
Okay.
so I'm trying to be as good as possible.
Is it legal for them to have no backup beeper?
What's that? They have a toggle switch on the truck.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, control it.
but you made a good point with the idling law.
It's a, yeah. I mean,
You
they're
comply with
restricted
the-
to 5
yeah,
minutes
there's a
unless they're
state law.
carrying it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I don't wanna see a diesel truck sitting there and idle like they do when they park up, go for a cup of coffee, you know what I'm.
It's
Trust
against
me,
the
at
law.
at
for
$4
them
a
to-
gallon, I don't wanna see it idling
Right.
either. So everything we own is GPS, so we get idling reports, we get speeding reports, harsh braking reports, yeah. We look at all that.
Okay,
I see a typo in the new 9, all work will must, so.
Where are you at? All work.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Will
the
must
new
be
9,
approved.
I just had a typo
Yeah.
that I got rid of.
Must be approved. So, the stormwater, I mean, what do we do?
I think, you know, we had a good discussion about that already,
Yeah,
let's
it is.
take that out.
They just need to comply.
It's already-
And then, you know, if we have some kind of can language that we can add a final condition that everyone's comfortable with that says,
Yeah,
applicant, or what we're calling, to be defined as Cole shall. Do you mind saying again?
Yeah,
So make-
comply with any and all applicable local rules, regulations, bylaws, applicable state requirements for the operation of the business.
yeah, we have, since the '07 decision, we've adopted a standard clause
Yeah.
to that effect.
Yeah.
And I think we can reference that in a more current decision. The only one I'm seeing now is '07, which we have in our hands,
Okay.
and I think since that time, I know we have one.
Well, maybe Tom, you can just
Yeah,
provide that language.
I can get that and send it to you. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, so let's skip back up to, alright, so now we're back to the regular numbering on 10.
Okay,
Um,
I was just gonna capitalize plans, is this the one, any changes to the plans?
any change in the plan supply
The one
was,
you're at?
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
just said it
plans,
should be
capital,
capitalized and
yep.
S, cause it's both the
Yep.
plan and
8, 9.
so plan, from the plan.
Yeah.
In 11, I thought it should say cease and desist, but, it's. Didn't matter.
the rest of it's boilerplate.
It says, number 12 says the board requires that the applicant files it, it should be just file. And I don't know if you wanna put Essex County, but Yeah, everybody just kind of assumes stuff.
Yeah, these are boilerplate pieces. I
Doesn't
think.
mean it can't be improved.
No, I'm not, right, but I'm not sure she had her boilerplate.
Yeah, no, that's fine, it's Essex South, they
Southern
reference it up
Essex,
here.
that's right.
Yeah, I think.
Southern Essex District Registry of Deeds.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Okay.
There's numbers and everything.
Okay, yeah.
I don't fix it, so. I think that's all I had.
Yeah, I don't have anything else other than this.
Okay,
You got
that's
everything
it?
I had.
Do you?
You got everything I had.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't close and vote.
Can I add one thing? Where the trucks park, it's all dirt. Could that be hot top?
That'd be what?
hot
Where the
top.
trucks park,
Yeah.
Paved.
it's all dirt, and that's where all the dust comes from.
Thanks for the point. I agree, it's a difficult, you've got a lot of compacted soil back there that's close to impervious, you know. Are you in a position to consider doing anything back there?
So we are, it's specified as gravel. So the dust won't be kicked up, it will be a clean environment. Asphalt will make it impervious, and now this is pervious.
Right.
So that's what we,
Okay.
as we anticipated is gravel. There's gravel there now, right, but it's just been 30 years old and been replenished.
Yeah.
So we're just grading out some new gravel to keep the dust down. And it's not like they're going through there at 30 miles an hour, they're 5 miles an hour at best. So there will be limited dust.
It's really not so much the speed, it's the wind that picks the dust up.
No, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
the
But the
plan
pervious is the issue.
calls for it to be gravel, so it's gonna be re-gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
there
that's the
are
best.
elements of how much of the site they can make impervious as well.
The trade
It's
wind
not just a
blows
matter
the
of,
dust.
believe me, I have a partial stone driveway and part of it's paved, and I wish I could afford to pave the whole thing, because I got dust from the ground, so I know what you're talking about.
I gave you a picture of my deck,
Yeah, no, I
and
understand,
that's their dirt.
I understand, I understand.
You have to have, the water has to be able to run off,
I'm
that's the
gonna live
problem.
with a dirty house,
Well,
No
a little bit of hot top.
no. No, I,
I feel your pain, I understand.
I do.
I've lived
I do.
behind Early Ready Mix for 12 years, I get it, I understand.
Really?
Okay, do you want to vote on this now, or do you want to,
What about the white
do
noise
it on the,
beepers?
do it on the 15th?
The backup beacons?
Could probably vote now. Right?
That was talked about early on, and I know Mr. Cole said that he was gonna do it, but that wouldn't be a condition?
I don't know if we can condition that. Only because it may be a state law regarding the beavers on the trucks.
There is, I was up to Newbury, New Hampshire 2 weeks ago. And we traveled on a lot of dirt roads, and they were as better than some of the hot top roads. And it's a special kind of material that the water can go through, but it's not dusty. It's not dirty. Beautiful roads. I don't know what the material is, and I'm sure you could find out.
Still, it's the hard pack soil, it's almost like
It's
like
a hard,
pack or
it's a
something
hard
like that.
pack, and,
But the idea of the crushed stone is basically allow water to filtrate, filter
Right.
through. You know, if you had, say 10 inches of crushed stone, that becomes, drainage. So it can sit in that layer at 60% or 50% and
Right.
allow it to percolate down to the soil.
right,
So it's a win for everybody at that aspect,
right.
because it's clean. we're not loading in that zone, so we'll get packed down like you're talking about, it'll allow water to filter through.
Right.
And that's the key on that site, because it's a large site.
Okay.
I mean, the only way I think we could attempt to address that is include something that would basically require that be visited annually, because if it's gonna deplete over time from normal wear and from normal use, and that gravel is soft and is gonna spread, where you put it, it may not stay. And you know, I've redone portions of my own driveway, and after a couple of years, you wouldn't know I put anything there anymore. And I'm back to my hard pack again. And, you know, now I'm back to a dust environment. And the only thing you can do is do that. I'm wondering if we couldn't, you know, make the maintenance of that
Isn't there
gravel.
Something like that?
In your condition, that you talk about the maintenance of the landscape
Yeah,
area?
yeah, no, we talk about it, but.
So you could say, keep all landscape area and parking and driveways, good repair throughout the year. Right, so if the beginning condition is the completed plan,
Mm-hmm,
that works.
mm-hmm.
I like that suggestion, I think it's fair, I
Mm.
mean, unless there's some sort of industry standard for gravel of like,
I don't know. I mean, again, if there is, then we've touched on it in the catch-all in the end.
This,
in
in the event,
driveways.
and again, I'm gonna say to you abutters, if you
Parking
perceive
areas.
that there are violations of any aspect of this, you know, the way you proceed is you go to the building inspector in writing and say, this is what I see, this is what I hear. And then he has to go and investigate and document it. If he can document it, then he can cite Mr. Cole, and Mr. Cole has to come back to us and we have to investigate it. Complaining among yourselves isn't gonna accomplish a thing, and you're gonna be frustrated. We're trying to create enough measurable, quantifiable conditions that give you a basis for evaluating what's going on over there. I mean, there are a lot of gray areas that we're trying to take the, you know, gray out of, but, you know, none of us can be there all the time, there all the time, you're close to it all the time, you know, but that's how the process is actually, you know, carried out. It's not a matter of just saying, I think it's messy, I think it's noisy. That really doesn't do the building inspector any good, and he can't issue a cease and desist unless he investigates to a hard complaint.
With all due respect though, and I agree with you 100%, this right here has done almost nothing to mitigate noise, any of this.
It's, you know,
Let's
as I
not
said.
get into a debate about it now.
Yeah, really,
We've taken all the comments
Yeah, I'll
into
tell you what,
consideration. Yeah,
I'll
hours of
comment
operation.
if you would like personally after the meeting.
But we did
Because,
speak about white noise backup beacons. There was a promise, and it doesn't say it anywhere in there, which means as soon as that's done, we're never gonna see them. It was talked about, why didn't it make it into that? That's a big thing, like, that's a huge thing, like, there's 30 trucks pulling in and out every day. The other day, they dumped stone over there, and we listened to 2 bobcats moving it around for 5 straight hours. That's the, in a big nutshell, is the problem, is the reverse beacons. That's it.
I know,
But you made some changes for trees and this and that, why can't we add that? I don't understand, you took his thing and you know, we pretty much fine-tuned what he submitted and didn't listen to anything that our lawyer submitted to you guys. I mean, the hours didn't change, we added some material, he wasn't allowed to have salt before, now he can have salt. At the end of the day, it's the noise, and I have to believe with the hours and with the beacons, the backup beacons, there is something that can be done to make this make it much better for everybody. It's crazy that that's not even, the noise isn't a thing, like the trees and all that, like that's a big part of the problem that we're all dealing with.
Do you mind? Can you
No,
just,
no.
you know, something, I say this all the time, that, you know, I'm paid to work, And, you know, everybody wants everything in writing, just throw that in writing, it's not an end
Well,
of the world.
tell them what you're talking
Kyle,
about.
it's just, white noise backup beepers on Cole's equipment, on occupants' equipment, that's all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, I was gonna do it anyway,
Right.
so, if you want it in there, we'll throw it.
You, in all due respect to Mr. Cole, he doesn't know, I do feel bad to a degree because I've heard that he's a good businessman and he's a great guy. He has no idea what we've been dealing with for the past 15 years. And unfortunately, he's walking into it, but it's, you know, it is what it is.
Yep. Okay.
I'm just trying to, if there's any more of a specific way, you know, backup white noise speakers.
To the extent permitted by law, the applicant shall employ white noise backup beeper prevention devices. How's that?
Done.
I don't like having things that are kind
Right,
of
I
undefined.
keep looking up
like-
there assuming that.
yeah, I hear you.
you're-
I'm not
what
writing
you're-
it
I know,
down.
I know, like, every
I
time
know.
she's typing, I'm looking up there assuming I'm gonna see it and
Yeah, no.
It gets me every single
It's
time.
been a long day, I'm thinking, all right.
Well, I'd like to suggest, while you finish drafting, that we don't vote tonight. I'd like to see the completed final document in front of us, number one. But I don't think we need another full meeting to further, discuss or debate. So I'm willing to consider waiving the 8th and then simply coming in on the 15th with the document that you put together, and you send it to us and we review it, and we vote on them, because it's not gonna get done any sooner if we vote on it tonight. You're not gonna get this, file it any sooner if we vote on it tonight. It's not gonna produce a document that can be signed tonight.
Well, I
Well,
think
it
if we
is
vote
before
on
the
it,
Next meeting.
and as in the form we have it now, right? We can sign it not at a meeting, and that means they can get it to the registry, you know, a lot sooner. That starts then, file it with the clerk, we'll file it with the clerk.
And frankly, we're ahead of where we normally are when we vote. We already have, like, we don't normally have anything written by the time we vote, right? So we're really ahead of the game of the point of when we would normally vote, I think, right?
Well, we normally vote to, draft an approval or a denial.
Right.
And then we create that document, and then we sign off on that document when we see the document.
Right.
Okay.
But do
That's-
you
that's-
still
I
hold
agree
a
with, I
separate
agree with,
vote on that?
I agree with Tom that we should,
Don't-
I don't
know.
I don't wanna keep dragging it, do we have to?
What do you see the process from here then, if we vote
I
tonight?
see the process being, we vote to adopt the decision as amended today. And this amended decision, we just spend an extra, 15 minutes fine tuning the language. And this is what we sign.
I mean, I think it's as simple as we vote to approve or to accept the application, as being drafted, and then we do it the same thing as we always do it, when it's written, we read it and sign it. Right?
I mean,
Right, if
'cause
there's any
never
errors,
before,
you
you
can-
don't do 2 votes on it, like.
Right.
No.
It was
Well,
like-
we really don't, the first vote we have normally taken is simply to draft the decision. Is that, okay, we've decided to approve this request, now we have to create a decision, and then we do that, and that's generally the next meeting. Now, we, given the time delay in the whole application process, we are trying to expedite it here, and it's not that I'm fighting expediting it, I'm interested in disposing of the case as quickly as
It's not the
possible.
So
meeting that we sign
so
it,
I
we
think the only
usually
difference
sign
is
it outside of the
Right
meeting.
now, we would vote to accept,
No, we usually
And-
sign it in the meeting.
right, we would vote to accept.
No.
Normally, we vote to accept and then have somebody draft. Now we're saying we vote to accept and have somebody finalize the draft. I think that's the only difference. And rather than starting from without a draft, we're starting with something started,
No, I mean.
right? I mean, I might be missing something. I definitely could be missing something.
No, then,
Right.
if we produce the hard document, and then we all have to get together as soon as we can, individually or as a group and sign that document, and then Lisa can file it with the clerk. Now, you know, if that happens, you know, before next Tuesday or Wednesday, then this is expediting that. It won't happen on Tuesday, probably. Soonest it would probably happen would be Wednesday, I'm thinking.
Well, I think the question is, do we need to do any further deliberations? I think it's pretty clear that we have plenty of testimony and evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's left is deliberating. I don't see anything that we need to deliberate. I think we have gone through each of these conditions and everyone has individually done it and discussed. I mean, I'm not trying to avoid doing an extra meeting, we can come next week, that's fine. It just, I don't think we see a need.
You agree?
I don't see any.
Okay. And you agree?
I agree.
Okay. We can put it to a vote, but I don't
Three
think it's
against
necessary.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you presented us with a draft and we have changed the draft, right?
Yep.
Right.
Everything is in track changes that we changed today.
Okay.
And if you wanna spend some time to go over the changes again, we can. I mean, I don't wanna rush this. I just think, there's just nothing left to deliberate.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion? I'm not gonna make it. Tom's not gonna make it.
Go ahead, Ken.
No, I'm not, listen.
You said two, right?
Yeah, I said two. I said a motion to what?
A motion to what, we were talking about?
I'll make a motion to approve Colt's application for a special permit under section 5.2 of our bylaw and adopt the decision as written and amended this evening.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
Yeah, we should do a separate motion to close the public hearing.
Do I hear a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.